Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Crayfish. Yes, we are looking at a chart of Melania. If you don't know, that is Trump's wife. Yes, it is an asset. It's an altcoin, or should I say a meme coin? We'll get there. We'll talk about that. We have some huge news for Ethereum today. Um, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of buys you may not know about. Yes, once again, it is linked to the big man in orange. And we are going to go through some of that major news today, look at kind of under the hood of the market, see what you might not have heard about, especially if you are not American, um, and really break down what's been going on underneath the surface, because that is how you make the big money, is you see the writing on the wall before the price movement actually happens. So let's get into it. I'm excited for today's video, and I think you will be too. Stick around till the end and let me know if this microphone is much better. I switched to a external microphone rather than my internal. Please let me know in the comments down below. All right, let's get into it. So I'm gonna leave these meme coins for a second. We'll get there and we'll talk about it. But first thing I want to show you is this right here. We're looking at Drops tab. Essentially, it's just a website that is able to take blockchain data, which just means all cryptocurrency buys are public. They're able to track wallets and essentially create an aggregate of holdings of different companies. We're going to be talking about World Liberty Financial's holdings, which is, if you're unfamiliar with this name, is a company backed by Trump for buying cryptocurrency. Yes, I know that sounds crazy that the president of the United States is financially backing a company responsible for cryptocurrency, but that is 2025. We are truly in historic times. And something I want to show you, take a look at this chart right now. This, as of literally not even 3 months ago, there was 29 million in this account. We're up to over 320 million, most of which we went from 61 to 320 in the last 3 days, 4 days. That is a pretty big move, guys. And that's what we need to talk about because no one is talking about it online. You won't hear about it in the mainstream media. And I am here to bring that information to you. So I kind of put all this together through a combination of different online forums as well as certain pieces of real-time, articles that got published in very niche places. We'll look at one next, actually on Yahoo Finance, that wasn't as niche. But this was something that a lot of people didn't really realize was happening until it had already happened. And that was exactly what they wanted. So let's go down to the assets and actually look through some of these things. I'm going to move this blurb over here. All right, so you can see their number one holding. Well, first of all, their number one holding is ETH. $167 million in ETH. And I've actually heard rumors that they've even bought more since this stat was published on this website. So that is a lot of ETH, guys, most of which acquired very recently. Take note, the only other thing I'll have you take note before we go more focused into Ethereum, because what the heck has been going on with Ethereum? We will cover that. It has been a struggle, guys, and there might be more reason for that than you think. The only other thing I'll cover on this page is take note of these two coins. These are USDT, which is a USD token or USD tether, and USDC, which is US dollar coin. Both of these are just they're digital coins meant to track the value of $1 exactly and essentially be your digital money to buy cryptocurrencies with. Okay. Notice they're still holding about $127 million in these stable coins, meaning they have more dry powder that potentially they could be loading into other coins. So that could be bullish for the future. Now let's look into ETH more in detail because this is really, really interesting to look at this on-chain data And if we go to, let's see, hold on, I need to go back one. I have to get to their holdings of ETH. Here we go, much better. Okay, you can see their Ethereum transactions, right? We'll start at the bottom. They started buying on December 9th, right? So they're aware of seasonality. They know it starts to go crazy in January, traditionally, and they started moving smart money in. They started with 30 million, and then they kind of just 14 million, 10 million, day after day, week after week, 6 million, 1 million, right? Up until January 15th. You can see like pretty consistent buys, started with a big chunk, and then took advantage of some dips. We're just kind of moving and grooving along. It looks like a DCA strategy. Scroll up one. 18th of January, $86 million of ETH was purchased, okay, at an average price of 33.08. That is, to give you an idea, 26,103 ETH tokens. That's a lot, guys. That is a big, 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 big whale buy. And why have you not heard about this? Why was this not talked about? Well, if you've been following the space at all, this was the exact day, the exact time that Trump launched Trump Coin. And if you don't know, we don't have to go too into it. To be honest, it's kind of a ridiculous scam anyway. I wouldn't be interested in it myself. But this Trump coin, I'm just trying to get my camera here to work for you guys. It's okay. I'll put it on once we're done with that other website, because that other website won't allow me to have my camera on. All right, let's look at Trump coin just real briefly. This, you can see, we started. It was launched on the morning of the 18th. This is the 19th. That's just because TradingView picked it up late. But it actually went from, about $10 at the initial launch all the way almost immediately to 77? Yeah, $77. It was massive, massive gains. And since then, you can see it's just been slowly, asymptotically heading towards zero. Will we have more pumps? Possibly. It's always possible. But I wouldn't chase. The point is that this coin was launched at the exact same time that World Liberty Financial, Trump's company, wanted to buy a ton of ETH, $86 million in ETH. Now, $86 million in ETH being bought by the President of the United States is a big deal and likely to spike the price action, right? As other people FOMO in, they believe that they can front run that purchase, and it's likely to create a big price spike. So what did they do? Well, Trump launched Trump Coin, which is arguably the best distraction on earth. It was literally the president making a digital currency with his face on it as a joke buy that everyone was focused on. And not only did he do that, but he launched it on Solana. And Solana is another cryptocurrency. If you're new to space, don't worry about it too much. People call it the ETH killer. I'm not convinced. Partly why is because, we had so much volume on Solana because Trump token was launched and Melania, which, we said we would get there. This was launched the day after and is Trump's wife's token, also asymptotically going to zero. Anyway, those were both launched on Solana and actually crashed the network because of so much volume. Whereas ETH tends to crash far less. It's much more reliable than Solana at this point. Now, what does this mean? Why would he launch something on Solana if he really likes ETH and wants to buy $86 million of it? Well, because people took this as a vote of confidence in Solana's network over Ethereum, right? People see them as competitors, okay? And so the Trump administration, or the president of the United States, choosing Solana by launching his meme coin there, caused a massive price rally in Solana. I can show it to you. And not only did it cause a massive price rally, imagine we've got Netflix and we've got, let's say, Hulu. Okay, and imagine the president of the United States starts his own show only with Netflix rather than Hulu. Hulu stock is gonna struggle. Well, Netflix stock is gonna go crazy, and you can see this move was pretty crazy, right? We went from I don't know what. Let's see. Right now, it's giving me the market cap, which is fine. But let's see if we can find the. Here we go. All right, so you can see this move. We went from we were right here at about 220, and very quickly went all the way up to 293. Yeah, right around there. And that right there, my friends, is a 32% move in a matter of hours, all because of this so-called vote of confidence from Trump. Okay, now I'm just postulating here by the fact that they bought $86 million of Ethereum on the same exact day. Is it possible they wanted people to think that they had less faith in Ethereum, more faith in Solana, so that their backs would be turned and they could pick up Ethereum without it price spiking, right? Getting in $86 million is a hard thing to do without the cost basis going up a lot. And they got it all in at $3,300, right? This is a big deal. And then further on, they actually have been buying more ETH into the presidential inauguration, which was on January 20th. I'll show you this article right here. As Donald Trump took oath as the 47th president of the U.S. on Monday, World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency project backed by him, announced a series of strategic purchases, including Ethereum and wrapped Bitcoin. Okay, don't worry about wrapped Bitcoin. It's just a Bitcoin, basically. In an ex post, the decentralized finance platform disclosed buying several cryptocurrencies, including 47 million each in Ethereum and wrapped Bitcoin. With the latest grab, World Liberty Financial's total ETH holdings shot up to 57,115 ETH, worth over $185 million at current prices. Okay, so what does this all mean, right? Because frankly, it's been a pretty tough moment for ETH. And if you're holding, you know that. We haven't necessarily dropped off a cliff, but I wouldn't say we've necessarily, really seen strong price action either. We've been struggling to keep up with Bitcoin, definitely struggling to keep up with Solana, all these different types of things. You can see, we're going to check out the ETH BTC chart in a second. I was just trying to get my camera on for you all. Let's see if it gets it. There we go. I'm back. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the market and what it all means. First of all, if you're wondering about Trump or Melania, I encourage you to have restraint, focus on investing rather than gambling, because this is straight up gambling. If you have some money that you want to gamble with, go for it. You are not making an investment if you buy Trump or Melania. You are making a gambling play. As for Ethereum, right? We have had kind of lackluster price action. And you might say, wow, if Liberty's Financial has been buying so much, why would this be? And again, I think their goal was to pick coins up at relatively cheap prices. They didn't want the rally to start until they had gotten enough capital in to really feel excited and ready for that. But I think, when you looked at that chart, the amount of positioning they have in ETH is absolutely insane. They're 4 or 5 times their ETH holdings than even their Bitcoin holdings. And that shows you where their confidence lies, right? Follow the money. You always hear it. So yeah, it's been a pretty brutal market. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am totally in the same boat. My patience is struggling with this, right? It's just every day chopping around in the same range for months, right? Everyone says, including me, historically, January is a great month for Ethereum, especially against Bitcoin. And we are exactly where we were all the way back in November, right? Um, Nothing crazy is happening yet. And so that's where I wanted to take this look under the hood to really feel like, okay, it will come. I don't know when exactly, but it will come. Something I did want to point out is the ETH BTC chart, because this is honestly, we got us a pretty surprising move here, where here was our prior low. We talked about a potential double bottom last week. It looked like that was potentially going to hold, and instead we actually got this move lower on this weekend, right? We got this move on the Trump announcement, right? We got this move down to all the way just below 0.03. And that's pretty scary. I don't want to see this continue to break down. But at the same time, I think, again, it shows you their goal was accomplished, right? They took people's money out of ETH into these other coins, into Solana, into Trump, into whatever, because they know retail, especially, is short term focused. They're not long term focused. And they're going to forget about, oh, Trump, World Liberty Financial is buying a ton of Ethereum. I wonder why they're doing that. And they're going to focus on, oh, my friend is talking about how Trump coin went up 100% in the last hour. Maybe I could do that too, you know? So I've been looking at this ETH BTC chart a lot, trying to find kind of rhyme or reason. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to bottom. I wish I could. The bottom may already be in, frankly. It was a pretty nice wick to the downside. 0.03 is a pretty strong level psychologically and actually on the chart. I'll show you guys here. You can see it's kind of, ETH has this pattern where it often returns to the scene of the breakout. So what I mean by that is, let's take a look at the previous cycle here, if it will give it to me. Why is it not loading that? I don't know. It is struggling to load all the way back here. All right, well, it's okay. I will just show you based on this cycle. So you can see the point of the breakout from last cycle, right, was right about here at this 0.031, 0.03 level. And then we got absolutely massive candles, which, right, we are looking at a monthly chart right now, guys. This is important to remember that really, we were chopping around. We got some movement off the lows in those first few months, but this can move really explosively when it starts to move. This is 2 monthly candles where it went up 158% against Bitcoin. That is absolutely insane. That is why we are in Ethereum. We're waiting for that again. We're hoping. And frankly, it's based in fact, it's based in past market cycles. And that's all you can do. Take your due diligence and take it to the bank and hope that it continues to play out as it has in the past, or at least similarly to it. So this is where that breakout really, really started. And you can see some kind of consolidation in this space beforehand. Thus, it kind of makes sense that it would return back to Earth, pop the bubble, and then go up from here. So that's kind of the logic for 0.03. It's a pretty good location. On a short-term chart, guys, let me show you something I've been watching, which is this very clear wedge that's been forming. And this is pretty recent, maybe the last, yeah, you can see it pretty well here. I'll make it as big as I can for you all. Okay, so I'm going to draw some chart lines for you all. And you can see this is a pretty strong wedge. We can even connect it all the way up to this point. It's been forming for the last few weeks, at least this resistance line. Now, on the support line, if we go based on 0.03, you can see we're coming to this kind of point within the next day, really. And that's just something I wanted to point out. I think, if we break to the downside, it's not necessarily the end of the world. But I do think we're going to start to maybe get some signs of price movement on the ETH BTC chart pretty soon here, within the next day. And I think that could be helpful to ETH USD. And I really think, I'm super excited about this news with the Trump World Liberty Financial. I think there's a lot of big whales that have been getting into Ethereum. I've seen headlines for other whales as well. And historically, I've come from the stock world where you watch, right, what insiders are doing. And if they're buying, it's usually a good sign in the long term. It might take some time, but it's usually a very good thing. And I feel definitely the same with it being the president of the United States. I mean, if the president of the United States is in it, he is a businessman and he wants to make money, right? And he has a lot of power to manipulate markets, frankly, to do that. And while that's a little bit scary, I would rather be on his side than against him. So do I think he was actually choosing Sol over Ethereum? I really don't. And I think the flows speak to that. And I think it was actually kind of a switcheroo play to get their holdings in Ethereum locked and loaded before the rally. And to be honest, part of me thinks the rally won't really begin until we get sustained all-time highs for Bitcoin. And that could be any day now. We got a new all-time high on the evening, Monday evening, or I guess Sunday evening before the inauguration. And since then, we've been kind of reconsolidating below the past all-time high. I think if we can really break into 110 and above, I think hopefully that should really start to spur Ethereum into really breaking out on its ETH BTC chart and hopefully getting us back to that 4K region that I think is so vital for getting us off to the races. So it's testing my patience. I'm sure it's testing your patience. Hang in there. We're not to the end of January yet. And we'll see how those monthly returns come in. And that'll give us more of an idea of maybe timing and those types of things. But I know so much of the sentiment on Ethereum has been so negative everywhere you look. And that, remember, is a really good thing. It can wear down on you. But remember, in the long haul, that is when you want to look for things. If it's getting overheated sentiment-wise, that often means you're heading towards the top. So I think we're in a good spot. I'm not concerned about the market. And I hope you found these news announcements really interesting because I think it really changed my whole perspective on this weekend and the Trump and Melania coin extravaganza, which frankly, I think a lot of long-term crypto holders were really appalled by and think it's really unfortunate for the space. They think that it's going to show people that, it was just kind of trying to build this reputable reputation, and now it's going to remove some of that, and people are going to think of it as gambling or ridiculous or as a rug pull. And I hear that. I totally hear that. And at the same time, I would say that, Trump has had his hand in a lot of things that people thought were going to get ruined, right? He's had a lot of ridiculous comments on Twitter about Tesla, about all sorts of things, Dogecoin, whatever it might be. And it's kind of like that quote of "there's no bad publicity," right? It's in the end, it's really just made crypto a bigger deal, more popular, all this type of stuff. Tesla's doing great as a stock. And yeah, I think overall, I actually think it could be really good for the space to just have a president who does crypto things. the more it's kind of talked about on the national sphere, I think the more capital will flow into the space, especially from institutions who are going to be looking for reputable sources to put their capital. And that, my friends, is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe a few others, but really those two. So I am excited for the future. I hope you are as well. I look forward to talking to you soon, and have a wonderful evening.